right, it is talk time, and we're starting the talk with this story. The Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Mahmood Mohammed, has appealed for calm over last Friday's unprecedented arrest of 2 of his colleagues and some judges of the lower courts.
Now, the CJN, who broke his silence on the issue at a valedictory session in honor of, or held in honor of a retiring Supreme Court Justice, Justice Suleiman Galadima, described the incident as sad.
Functionaries, state governors, family and friends of the retired justice converged on the Supreme Court for the valedictory session of Justice Suleiman Galadima. Conspicuously absent was Justice Sylvester Unguta and Justice Iyang Okoro, who was said to be in detention. Also absent was the Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, who is always present at such occasions. The CJN extolled the values of Justice Galadima, but also made his position known over the arrest of his colleagues and some judges of the Federal High Court.
I must ask all Nigerians to remain calm and prayerful as emergency meeting the National Judicial Council will be taking place tomorrow. Will comprehensively look into the matter.
In such occasions, the AGF is usually the next to speak, but his absence gave room for the NBA president, who condemned the arrest of the judges.
The NBA rejects these explanations and justifications that these so-called surgical operations were targeted at corruption and not the judiciary. We find it absurd that the presidency will accept assurances for the DSS that we followed all due process of the law. We maintain our position that these operations are illegal and unconstitutional. I want to reiterate that the position of the bar is not aimed at protecting any judge. We are not shielding any judges from investigation from charges of corruption. The resolve of the NBA on the fight against corruption is unwavering. My views and positions on these matters are also too well known. I have been consistent on my calls for the legal profession to stand up and fight against corruption, both in the bar and on the bench. I've also called for fundamental changes, not only in the way we regulate the legal profession, but in the way we maintain discipline and professional standards on the bench.
All attention has been on the judiciary since Friday the 7th, and Nigerians await the decision of the NJC in respect of the detention of the justices.
All right, we have joining us in the studio right now Ahmed Abbas, who is a lawyer. Many thanks for joining us today on TVC Breakfast. Let's start to make sense of this, starting with the creation itself, the establishment of the DSS. We look at their mandate, then see if they really have the mandate to do this. Of course, you remember the creation, which comes in from the National Security Agencies Act of 1986, and of course the instrument one that was promulgated by Abubakar Salami in 1999, which gives it another instrument extending their roles, which perhaps includes what they have done on Friday. Can you just start with that?
Thank you very much. This is my personal opinion as far as these issues are concerned. Like the Chief Justice has just enjoined us to be calm. For me, as a person, I do not see why there's so much brouhaha concerning the arrest of judges. Judges are not immune from arrest. They do not have immunity. They are just like any other ordinary Nigerians. And if they have any question to answer relating to the conduct of their offices, I do not think their arrest or their investigation should cause any should pose any challenge at all. For me, as a person, it's I find it a little bit comical that we're actually dissipating energy. There are many people that are arrested every day by day. Idasuki was picked up in this country, being tried by the federal government on charges of corruption, and so many other politicians. And here we are dissipating energy. I think we should be more focused in ensuring that the rule of law is followed. If they have questions to answer, I can be arrested, I can be investigated. If I'm invited to answer questions, I should I should find it very easy. If I do not have...
My first question really is for us to situate it proper.
Yes.
Let's start with the DSS.
Yes.
They have the mandate to arrest them based on their on the National Security Agency Act of 1986 and the Instrument 1 that came about 1999 during Abubakar Salami.
Yes.
Can we situate that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
The DSS, see, for national security issues, it's very broad, very, very broad. And the president, as you know, the commander-in-chief, has the discretion to employ the services of institutions to achieve the objective of ensuring our national security. As far as I'm concerned, like I said, it's my personal, because there are several schools of thoughts. But as far as I'm concerned, the DSS has the power. They've actually not gone outside the purview of their power to exercise that authority. They have the power. Yes.
We'll come back to this. Now, there are three independent arms of government. Now, the legislature, the executive, and the judiciary. The judiciary, the third arm of government, is regarded as the last hope of the common man where justice can be served. And now, over the years, the judiciary has been under criticism for compromising.
In the early hours of last Saturday, the Department of State Security raided the residences of many judges of the Supreme, High, and Appeal courts in different parts of the country. Some of the judges were arrested and detained. The agency recovered documents and cash allegedly linking the judges to corrupt practices and professional misconduct.
Now, some of the affected judges are Justice John Okoro, Justice Sylvester Nguta of the Supreme Court, Justice Adeni Ademola of the Federal High Court, Abuja, Justice Kabir Auta of the Kano High Court, Justice Muazu Pindiga of Gombe High Court, Mohammed Samia of the Court of Appeal, Ilorin, and Justice Aye Umezelike, who is the judge or chief judge in Enugu State.
According to the DSS, the operation uncovered huge raw cash of various denominations, which amounts to more than 270 million naira, with real estate worth several millions of naira. A breakdown of recovered cash from just 3 judges show that more than 93 million naira was recovered. That's about 93,558,000 naira, 530,087 dollars, and of course 25,970 pounds sterling now, and of course 5,680 euro and other currencies.
Yeah. Now, the raid by the DSS has been lauded by many Nigerians, as well as highly criticized by several individuals and groups who say there was a breach on the part of the executive. Now, the presidency has debunked claims that the raid was targeted at the judiciary, but at corruption, not the judiciary, but corruption. Now, let's look at the issues proper. Now, the judiciary is regulated by the National Judicial Council, set up by the Section 153 of the 1999 Constitution to guarantee the independence of the judiciary.
And the body is also charged with the responsibility of wielding the big axe on erring judges. So some analysts have concluded that the DSS and the police have acted out of order, which of course brought us to the question if they acted out of order. And according to you, and based on what we have, the provision of the law, they are in order. All right, the Nigeria Bar Association argues that it is not the responsibility of DSS to arrest judges. The association has also described the action of the agency as unconstitutional and a way of intimidating the judiciary and undermines its independence. The Constitution, however, does not provide for any judicial officer immunity against arrest. That's according to Section 308, where you have the governors, the vice president, and the president having immunity. And such investigations or prosecution on allegations of crime. Maybe we should stop here and look at Section 153, where the NJC Act emanates from, what they are meant to do. What is the role of the NJC?
In reality, the NJC is supposed to be the body that, sanction judges, discipline judges, and all the rest of them. But like I rightly pointed out from inception, judges do not have immunity from prosecution. And so, if they are found to have breached any law of the land, a judge can also be tried, arrested, investigated, and prosecuted the way an ordinary citizen can be prosecuted. You see, the contents of the principles of separation of powers is simply to ensure that there's no interference from the other arms of government in other arms in the execution of their statutory functions. But like I said, the judiciary, they are not immune. They do not have immunity. They are ordinary. I'm not using the word ordinary now. They are simply like, they are functioning like every other Nigerian. And once they are found to have breached any law, they can be arrested. The problem we have, let me just tell you why we are having this kind of scenario is that, you see, institutions have broken down, collapsed completely. Ordinarily, what EFCC is doing and DSS is doing now is ordinarily what the police institution were set up to do. But because they failed in their responsibility, that is why people keep clamoring for the creation of more institutions. On a good day, there is nothing that the DSS is doing now that the police could not have done. If there's an allegation.
According to the Police Act, I think Section 208 now, the issuance of a search warrant or arrest warrant should ordinarily come from the superior police officer, application made to the judge, and that is issued. But the Administrative Criminal Justice Act perhaps has overruled that with some provision where the DSS2 and other agencies can make such arrest and get such warrants.
Yes, what I'm saying in essence is that ordinarily the police on a good day is saddled with the responsibility of enforcement of our laws. But because over the years they have failed, if you look at the reason why EFCC was actually established was to create like a parallel institution. Until date, we keep clamoring for more institutions. Like even in the case of judiciary, they will tell you we need a special court to try corruption cases. We need a special court. Sooner than later, you will see us clamoring for courts that will try headache and try leg pain and try. No, I'm not trying to become. Because the traditional institutions are failing. Okay. And they must be empowered to do what they are supposed to do, so that they cry for this institution is overlapping, this will not actually occur. For me as a person, I think the police ordinarily, they have the power to arrest, to investigate and try cases, or if need be, forward it to the office of the Director of Public Prosecution, whether at the federal level or at the state level, for the trial of these judges. But because in the time past, they are failed. That's why we are clamoring.
All right. Yes. So many eminent Nigerians have made their position known concerning this issue, and I'd like us to listen to Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Femi Falana, who made his mind known very clearly and very eloquently as well.
I have challenged the hypocrisy of the leadership of the bar, Nigerian lawyers, Nigerian Bar Association, and all those who are pretending that all is well with the judiciary of our country. Whenever people had scandalized judges in the past, I have stood out against them, because there are damn good judges in Nigeria, there are damn good lawyers in Nigeria, but there are also bad ones. Our duty is to isolate them, identify them, and have them prosecuted for destroying, for desecrating the temple of justice. We must stop queuing behind judges and lawyers whenever they are accused of running foul of the law. The only way we can save the integrity of the profession is to ensure that we take the issue of discipline very seriously. Many of the petitions that the State Security Service is acting on now, regrettably, have been before the National Judicial Council, to the knowledge of the bar.
Okay, let's deduce something from there. Now, the Nigeria Bar Association and even the NJC, well, let me say the Nigeria Bar Association, from what he said, has been aware of some of these issues over the years, as the case may be. And they are supposed to call erring judges or anyone who is accused, they're supposed to be responsible. But now we hear the NBA is I wouldn't say they're coming in defense, but they're kicking against the entire process of arresting or even calling judges to question. When it comes to the role of NBA watching over and ensuring that judges and lawyers act according to standards, how have they fared in that regard from what senior advocate is saying?
Thank you very much. If you, on this fora and several other fora, I have never hidden the fact that I align absolutely with the position of our senior advocate, Falana, except we want to deceive ourselves in this country and in the legal profession. He has rightly pointed out there are very good judges, eminent judges, very good lawyers, but we also have a segment of the judiciary and the bar that have aligned with the corrupt establishment of this nation. The bar, as far as I'm concerned, has actually not done very well in its role in ensuring that lawyers keep to their oath of office. We are social engineers, but there are segments of the bar that are beneficiaries of the corrupt system. And they know, like he rightly said, look, you went to school. In the school environment, we are all in relationship. Those that attend churches, you will know them. Those that attend mosque, you will know them. Those that are care guide, you know them. And those that are also called boys, we also know each other. They are not secret. Within the legal profession, I'm telling you honestly, I lie not before God and man. Within the corridors of the bar, we know the judges. And every lawyer, most lawyers know judges that are judges of integrity and also judges that are corrupt. That even within the corridors of the bar, you will know that there are some chambers do not rely on their legal brilliance. They rely on their capacity to corrupt the judicial system. We have lawyers that from the registry, when you file your case, they perverted the system that they know the judge they will assign their matter to. They arrange it to such an extent. So it's very obvious that some segment of the bar are corrupt and they are beneficiaries of this corrupt system, and they are also aligning with some members of the judiciary. They are also beneficiaries of it. It's well known within the corridors of power, except we want to tell the public lie.
All right. Okay, so from what you're saying now, from what Mr. Falana said now, perhaps the National Judicial Commission is not alive and well. If that is the case, then the Constitution should be reviewed. Perhaps it should be expunged. Then the power to sanction judges perhaps should now be given to the DSS. Then there won't be such controversies. Do you see my line of thought?
No, you see, this is my own position. The strength of any institution is the capacity or the courage of the people interfacing with that institution to force the institution to work the way it ought to work. Like, let me just give you a typical example. On a good day, if you are arrested in Nigeria and they take you to any police station, for example, and you invite your lawyer, the police will make a mess of your lawyer, I'm telling you honestly, because they want to collect bribe. And by the oath of our office, we ought not to. But because of the lack of courage of some lawyers, they align with the police to collect money from their clients to share with the police. The police now sees this as a right. So anytime you go to the police will be asking a lawyer to say, have you arranged with your client? Arrange what? Several times I've told them, I said, I will never do it. I will never in my life do it. It's an abomination. And there are lawyers, 99% of us, who do not have. Sometimes I've told my client, I said, you will not die. Worst case, what they do is that because this lawyer is not playing ball with them, they simply make sure they detain you throughout the whole of the night. And by 9 o'clock, the policeman will tell you, well, the officer that will sign your bail has gone. Your client will be forced to sleep there the following day. And because you have refused to dance, they will charge him to court the following day. Most times, I've always said, you will not die. We go to court. The court is a workshop of a lawyer.
That's the police you're talking about.
Yeah, that's
now.
the police.
So perhaps the DSS should raid the police, some police officer's house.
The entire system is
what
sick.
You're saying now is correct.
The entire system is, I'm telling you honestly. So most times, they will charge the man, ordinarily, that have no business going to court, simply because you refuse to play the traditional game. they charge your client to court for the next 1 or 2 weeks, 3 weeks, you'll be going to court, wasting your time. But I've always encouraged people. I said, look, when you go to court, they charge you to court, and eventually the court discharge and acquit you for. It's better because then you know that the police has no right. Sometimes people think they will die in police, and what weakens the police institution is our refusal to look at them in the eye and say, excuse me, you do not have the power to extort money from Nigerians. Go through the duress sometimes, and at the end of the day, the liberty you get strengthens you. When next police say, I will charge you to court, you just look at them and say, I won't die in court.
Okay, from what you have said now.
Because that's the rule of law playing out.
Yeah, from what you have said now, I think we've been able to establish the fact that there's corruption, according to you and according to Mr. Falano. But the grouse really with some people is the manner in which this raid was carried out, with that due process wasn't followed.
But the DSS came out and said they followed due process. They had a warrant, that they obtained a warrant. If you are coming to arrest an armed robber, you send him a text message. Will you send him a text message or call him on the telephone? I'm coming to arrest you by 1 a.m. in the middle of the night. Is that what you do? When you have, probably information that there are stolen goods in the house of an armed robber, you will send a text message ahead of time or send email or make a phone call. I'm coming to arrest you because I'm informed that you have some stolen goods in your. Most times investigations are undercover activities. You do not want to let the cat out of the bag. You want to catch a man red-handed. The man has evidences of documents of houses in London that he can't explain. Am I going to tell you I'm coming to raid your house so that you take away those documents away? No. If I have information that you have assets that you can't explain to by virtue of your office and your salary, and I'm coming to raid you to get evidence, I won't come announcing on CNN or TVC that I'm coming to raid your house. They've simply conducted, their assignment in the best way they can. You can't go to investigate a man or to arrest a man that you want to fish for evidence.
All right, but in Port Harcourt, a different scenario played out where we had the chief executive governor trying to intervene on behalf of the chief judge there. I like my producer to play that so it refreshes our memory as to how the raid or the supposed raid in Port Harcourt played out.
They push me, they cock their gun that they're going to shoot me, and I've never had seen that happen before. But again, is to tell you what we're facing, is to tell you that more of this will come. And for us in this state, we will resist any act of impunity. You can imagine me as a governor, my wife is a judge, and maybe I travel tomorrow, and somebody tells me that by 2 a.m. the police and the SSS have come to my house, even in government house, because they control the place, the police control, they can tell all the men to leave the place that they want to arrest my wife.
All right, now there are sometimes lawyers have said, well, if you are accused and your hands are clean, there's nothing to fear. Now, if a chief judge or a justice of the Supreme Court or whoever the person is generally is being involved in a raid like this, and the governor is trying to defend or prevent that, how appropriate is that?
It is comedy of the highest order. This is my own. If for fear of life, because you see we live in an insecure environment, that people could masquerade as DSS or police officers in the middle of the night. And once, because they are privileged, he was able to reach the governor to say there are some officers in my house. If I were to be the governor's position and I arrive on the scene and I'm able to identify that these are men of state security and they are here on an official assignment, I would simply withdraw to allow them carry out their assignments. They are there for their assignment. And Mark, he's a state governor. Even the judges are federal government employees. How can you be obstructing an officer of the state from carrying out? The only thing I think he should have done was to investigate that these men properly are from the Directorate of State Security.
Perhaps he has splits of seconds to do that. And from the some allegations we got that even before they got to the judge house, they had gotten to another house different from that man's house, and they have manhandled those people at the other house. So those people raised an alarm, which was what drew attention to what is happening. So if that is the case, the governor coming in as the chief security officer of the state, should he just fold his hands and just watch?
That's what I'm saying. Anybody, if you have access to the governor to say, there are men with guns condoning off my house, can you come to my rescue?
But should the governor be the one to come there at 1 or 2 a.m. in the morning himself?
That's what I'm saying. The judge is just privileged to have access to the governor. How many people are arrested in this country? And they have the state governor coming out by 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. and all the rest of it. It also speaks volume as to why the governor should personally intervene in his matter, and after even discovering that these men are from the state security, you should have given them the room to do their job and go back to your house. Trying to prevent men of the state security it makes a mockery.
Yeah, but we also heard him say that in the States they are going to resist any attempt. Well, how does that compound the process?
Can I tell you the honest truth? If Wike were not to be a governor, if Wike were not to be the governor of Rivers State, what do you think would have happened that night if an ordinary citizen like yourself or myself stands before the DSS with their complement of arsenals, of tools of violence gone, to say you are preventing them from carrying out their duty? What do you think would have happened? You think they would have patted on his back and said, I'm coming back the following day?
I don't think he was even patted on the back. Really.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm only trying to paint a scenario of what
playing
would
a
have
scenario.
Okay. I'm only painting a scenario. Yeah. Somebody would have lost his or her life. The only reason why they accorded him respect because of the office he's occupying. No ordinary citizen would have been able to withstand the DSS on that day to prevent them from doing their job.
Some report we also got that most of the search warrants that were taken to most of those houses, of course, were gotten from Abuja. But if you follow section 151 of the Administrative Criminal Justice Act, where it is stated that such warrants cannot be executed outside jurisdiction of the court or justice of peace issuance from where it was issued, and how did that play out in Port Harcourt?
You know, for me, like, there are so many facts that is not at our at disposal as we speak concerning most of the cases, what happened, where they got their warrant from. Some people are saying they don't have a warrant, and we're saying the warrant was gotten from Abuja and all the rest of them. There are some of the surrounding issues that I think it's just a broader picture that I'm just looking at. The issues of where the warrant came from. Do they have a warrant? I'm not in a position as I sit down here to make a comment whether it is true. But the only thing that most of us are clamoring for is that our agencies should ensure that they follow due process in whatever they are doing. That's just all I can say, because I'm not in a position as I sit down here.
So if that was the scenario that the search warrant was gotten from Abuja, what they did in Port Harcourt?
Yes.
Illegal?
Yes. Yes, if it is, by the provisions of the law. But like I said, you know, there's always this counter-accusation. No, you don't have a warrant. Oh, there was no warrant. Oh, the warrant was not gotten in Rivers. The warrant was gotten in Abuja. There are two schools of thought.
Yeah, but I remember, like you said earlier on, the issue here is whether there is procedure. Yeah, certainly there are procedures. But when there is the issue of national security,
absolutely,
I guess he outturns every other thing.
Overriding.
But everything should be done within the ambit and confines of the law.
Yes.
Even in carrying out, everything should be done.
Of course.
Yes, let me just, because you see, the very foundation of democracy itself is rule of law.
Yes, it is.
And because if you have ever been, like a lawyer, if you have ever been a victim of an abuse, of a legal process, of a process, you will not be happy. And that's why, you know, lawyers, sometimes lawyers want to, clients want lawyers to adopt, you know, unprofessional approach to solving their problems and not the rest of them. I used to advise them, I say, if you are on the other side and you are a victim of an abuse of a process, you will never like it. So sometimes it's just like a tenant is owing a landlord, they'll say, is there anything you can do within 2-3 months and all the rest of it? I said, except you want us to, you know, adopt Jankara style, and I'm not part of it, because if you are ever a victim of somebody abusing the legal process, you will not be happy.
Yeah, but because we know that when there is a state of emergency or there is the issue of national security, these are peculiar times where things may not be as conventional or as procedural. Yeah. But as far as the rights of anybody is not infringed and nobody's life is at stake, I guess. But the point there is, let's bring it down to the issue of corruption now in the system. Do you think this is an opportunity? Because we remember the president at the time said that the judiciary was not helping in the fight against corruption. Do you think this is part of an opportunity or a window to try to sanitize the system?
I think I will not just lump the issue of the judiciaries not playing their part very well. I don't have any problem, because I tell people we have the federal government of Nigeria. The three members of that government is the judiciary, the executive, and they ought to work hand in hand to ensure that government deliver on its objective. And so if an arm of the government feels the other arm is actually not contributing its quota, you have a right to shout out that, look, please, we need to deliver to the Nigerian people, and you seem to be sabotaging my effort. I don't see anything wrong in that. But you see, the judiciary, they have two problems. Number one, some of them do not even have the courage, because like I tell people, the executive, we call them the excellencies, the legislator, we call them the honorables, and the judges, we call them my lord. Some of them are actually not exercising their lordship. They've allowed their courts to become theaters of Nollywood. That's the honest truth, because there are lawyers that are full of frivolity. They come, they bring all manner of application to stall a problem. But we've also had judges who are courageous enough to look at them and say, no, you won't turn my court to a court of theater. And the discretion that judges have, if they exercise it, most of the nonsense we have in courts will not be there. But some of them are not courageous enough, either by virtue of the way they were appointed, because most times when you get an appointment that you do not even deserve in the first instance, the capacity to execute that office is also lacking. And secondly, the law enforcement officers, because the court is not a Father Christmas. You see, substantive law, yes, there's a law defining what an offense is. There's a procedural law that defines how you approach the court to get, a verdict or a sentence on that. If you bungle the process, the judge is not a Father Christmas. The judge will not help you. The judge will not help you to score a foul goal. So if the other lawyer is smart enough to point and puncture your presentation, the judge is not a Father Christmas. The judge will align with whatever evidence is produced. You may have committed the offense rightly, but like I said, sometimes 150 charges, 200 charges, no proper, investigation, no articulation in presenting those evidence. The judge's hands are tied. And another cause, if a judge has already been compromised, like I told you, it does happen. Yeah. We know lawyers whose tool in stock is corrupt the system, get judgment. They can't fail in any court because they are in tandem. There are too many things I shouldn't be saying.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, let's talk about the issue of separation of power. The presidency had come out to say this is not the fight against judiciary, this is the fight against corruption. And that allegations have been coming from some quarters that, okay, the president perhaps is usurping his own power. You understand that the DSS answers to the presidency. There's no doubt about that. So if the presidency has the reign of power over the DSS, and don't forget the Code of Conduct Tribunal, everything, the precedents and the mandate, of course, derives from the pleasure of the president. And if you follow even the rule of the mandate of the DSS now, some part of it where it says the discretion, what constitutes national security, a threat to national security, at the discretion of the president. Please justify for us if this is not a fight against judiciary.
For me, I do not see it as a fight against judiciary, because when the president was being sworn in, he outlined three major issues that will be the focus of his administration. He spoke about the economy, he spoke about insecurity, and he spoke about corruption. You do not need to know. If for any man who is, anybody who is a student of Nigerian history, this was somebody that came in about 30-something years ago and started the war against corruption. He's coming back. He's also saying he's going to fight corruption. For me, I do not see the arrest or the investigation of 2, 3, 4 judges as an assault on the judiciary. No.
Maybe this is the beginning.
Yes, because there's a rot in that system that we need the courage.
There are reports that there will be more raids as we get along.
Couldn't an independent authority take out the raid devoid of the influence of the executive?
No, that is
when you're talking about separation of power.
Yes, that is the meaning of separation of power is that legislators make the laws, the executive implement and enforce the law. The legislators made a law defining what corruption is, what an abuse of office is. And it is the duty of the executive to take that law and find out if anybody, including the judicial officers who are abusing their office or engaging in fraudulent activities, to take them up and execute what the law says should be done to such people.
This is part of it.
Yeah, this part of it. They are within their field.
Ahmed Abbas, thank you so much for, creating enlightenment in this area, and we look forward. Certainly this discussion is not over, because as the week goes along we'll be having more of this, because more are still coming out. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.